Welcome back to the Talking Apron, the podcast where kitchen confidence meets better health. I'm your host, Ann Bernardin. I'm a nutrition educator, a public speaker, and a lifelong home cook. I live with type 1 diabetes, and I've spent years helping people, especially women, feel more in control of their well-being through food, self-care, and planning. This podcast is here to make food and health feel doable, even in the midst or middle of a busy life. Whether you're managing diabetes or just looking to eat more intentionally, I want to help you feel empowered, not overwhelmed. Today we're going to be talking about a humble little herb that packs a powerful punch, and that's basil. It's so much more than a garnish on pasta or a spring on your plate. From its nutrients to its soothing aroma, basil is a beautiful, fragrant ally in your kitchen and in your health journey. So let's get into it. Now, why does basil matter, you ask yourself? Well, it has a great nutritional boost. Basil may be small, but it is mighty. One of the reasons I love it is because it adds flavor without adding the salt, sugar, or carbs, something incredibly valuable when managing blood sugar. Here's what basil brings to the table nutritionally. 1, vitamin K. Just 2 tablespoons of fresh basil provides over half of your daily value of vitamin K. And vitamin K plays a crucial role in blood clotting and in bone health. Vitamin A supports the immune function, vision, and skin health. Then we have manganese. That helps regulate blood sugar and again supports bone health. Just what women need, especially after the menopause women. We really need to take care of our bone health. And then basil is full of antioxidants. It contains compounds like eugenol, and this aromatic compound has strong anti-inflammatory properties, and it helps to reduce those markers like the C-reactive protein and interleukin 6 in the body, and lutein. Those help fight inflammation. But the big one to me is that oxidative stress. That's key for anyone interested in their long-term health and what I'll call aging or stress on our body. So its anti-inflammatory effects, it helps with that chronic low-grade inflammation that can play a role in contributing to the development of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Then we have the flavonoids and the tannins. These antioxidant compounds, they neutralize free radicals, helping again to reduce that oxidative stress, which contributes to cellular inflammation and some of those metabolic disorders we've been hearing about. So specifically speaking, here are the ways that basil appears to support the blood glucose regulation through several machinations. Now, if you know me, I'm really into research and I can kind of nerd out about it. So don't worry about learning it like you're in a science class, but just know that there's some meaty information about basil. So if we look at blood sugar balance, it helps slow down the absorption of the carbs. It inhibits certain enzymes which are involved in breaking down the carbohydrates into glucose. So by slowing down this process, basil helps reduce those post-meal spikes, or it's called postprandial. And I know, isn't this so exciting? Yeah, right. So if you don't have diabetes, that's okay. Keep eating your basil and try to keep putting basil in because it has so much more than its properties to help those of us like myself living with diabetes. But compounds in basil might also stimulate the glucose uptake in muscle and fat cells. That's really good too, because if you're any type of person that loves exercise, you want your muscles to take that glucose into it so you can fuel yourself and have energy. And it also helps to remove glucose from the bloodstream more efficiently. So it kind of mimics the effect of how insulin works. Now, there was a small human clinical trial that was published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology, and it showed that the basil type Tulsi, the leaves reduce fasting and postprandial blood sugar levels, and there is a tea that you can make of it. And these were specifically for type 2 diabetics, and it was over a period of 2 weeks. This variety of basil, it helps the cells respond better by having improved insulin sensitivity through different ways. It helps the body handle stress better because chronic stress increases cortisol, which is linked to insulin resistance. And by reducing this stress response, basil may indirectly support better insulin function. Now, there was also an animal study that suggests that basil can increase, let's say, the sensitivity of insulin receptors, which can lead, again, to better glucose utilization. So, out of my nerdy stuff, I know that you're not going to be eating a whole bowl of basil, but even small amounts added regularly to your meals for your nutrient intake, for your gut biome diversity, will support you and you're eating food that works for your body. So let's get into the food and the growing of basil, etc. So let's talk about growing your own basil. And before you say, I don't have a green thumb, hear me out. Basil is one of the easiest herbs to grow, even if you've never planted anything in your life and you have a black or brown thumb. So how much sunlight does basil need? Well, basil loves warmth and light, so think 6 to 8 hours of sunlight a day. Now, a kitchen windowsill is fine. It doesn't need the direct, but it does need strong light. You want to keep the soil moist, but not soggy. So you're going to be watering if the top inch of the soil is dry. Now, once it starts growing, you'll pinch the top leaves because then you want it to grow out so it becomes bushier. Now, over time, if the stalks get leggy, they may go to flower. Another reason why you want to keep pinching the tops. Now, it's container friendly, so you don't need a backyard to grow basil. A small pot will do, but you got to make sure it has drainage holes so it can drain and not kind of rot or mold in its root system. Now, here's a tip. If you buy basil in the store, you can cut the bottoms that are dry, put those in a glass, and guess what? You can root your own plant and then put it in a pot. And I think that's what I'm going to do to start this year. So how do you store basil to make it last? Well, maybe you're not going to grow it. Maybe you're just going to keep on buying it. So there are a few options. One is room temperature in water. Again, you're going to trim them like I said, but here's what you're going to do. You're going to have it be like a bouquet of flowers, but you're going to cover the top with plastic, and like a open plastic bag. You're going to leave it in the counter, not in the fridge, and this will let it last for about a week. If you put it in the fridge, you're going to wrap the roots in a paper towel. A moist paper towel, and this will help keep it fresh for 2 to 3 days. Not very long. So I pretty much plan when I buy it, I know I'm going to be using it within a day or two, not next week, because it won't last that long. Now, maybe you grow it. Maybe you have a bountiful crop. Well, what do you do with it? The best way is to actually chop it. You wash, dry, chop. You put it in an ice cube tray with a little bit of olive oil or water, and then you're going to freeze it. That's right. So you'll take the cubes out. After they're frozen, you can put it in a bag, keep it, and all you're going to do is take one of those cubes And when your meal is almost cooked, like a soup or a stew or a sauce, you'll add it in the end. So you're not going to be boiling the bejesus out of it. You're just adding it for that bright flavor. The next option is drying to preserve if you have a bountiful crop. But it does lose some of its flavor. And I'm going to tell you, I've tried this before and mine has molded because the air wasn't dry enough where I was drying it and I didn't have a dehydrator or something like that. It was too humid where I was living. So I go for the freezer method. I don't do the drying because my environment isn't quite good enough. Now, here comes the segment that you've all been waiting for. How do we cook with basil? What do we do with it? So I'm going to suggest some really good, flavorful wins. And we want to do this without adding extra stress in our life. So first, think pesto. Think pesto with basil, olive oil, garlic, nuts or seeds. Nuts? Well, it's usually made with pine nuts. But guess what? If you're watching this on YouTube and you see the video, I'm moving my fingers like, yep, pine nuts are expensive. So I substitute walnuts. You can substitute sunflower seeds as well, but it has a little bit of a different taste. That's okay. You add some grated Parmesan and a little bit of pepper. And there you go. You are ready to go with a nice pesto. You can put it on zucchini, you can put it on grilled chicken, you can use it as a veggie dip, you can put it on sliced French bread baguettes. Yummy. Oh, drizzle it on a tomato, a caprese salad. All set to go with your pesto. Next up is just putting it fresh as a topper. You're going to be adding it to perhaps scrambled eggs, cottage cheese, again a tomato and cucumber salad. It will instantly brighten the dish. And remember when I said it's going to add that boost for the biome? The more variety of green, red, yellow to your diet helps your gut. So even a little tablespoon, boop, on your salad at the end of the day, great. Use it up. Use those leaves. It can also be a flavor enhancer, so you can put it, like I said earlier, it's going to be when using a cube, a frozen one, we'll do the same thing with fresh. You're going to be putting it in the pot at the end of cooking. Maybe you've already shut it off. You'll put it in to add the flavor, but not to boil the basil with it. Or you serve your bowl and you'll top your bowl with it. Now, some people love putting it in their water. A couple slices of cucumber, some basil. If you're feeling a little bit fancy, you can do that, or you can put lemon slices with basil and in your water. And it's refreshing, it's flavorful, it helps you with your hydration, and maybe it'll help with your blood sugar. Double whammy, water and a little basil. But remember, flavor is your friend. It's your friend, because when food tastes good, it satisfies you more, and you're less likely to overeat or reach for food that's processed, looking for something quick. Now, if you'd like to have a few more recipes, go ahead and join my Facebook group. It's called Health, Habits, and Hope. And when this podcast is posted, there will be a link to join Health, Habits, and Hope, and you can find the recipes there. So let's talk one more thing before we get back into why you want to add it to these meals. Now, how I cut basil. I stack all the leaves. I take them, pinch them off the stem individually. I stack them. Then I roll it. I may make one slice lengthwise, like up the spine of the leaf, and then I'm going to do a thin cut. This will get you some really nice size pieces of basil. Another way, if people just take the leaves, stack them, and then they rip them in pieces, that works too. Now let's go back to, why does adding this herb to your meals matter? All right, seems like a small thing again, but keeping fresh basil on hand, learning how to use it, these small shifts in your kitchen, they add up. They add up. Choosing ingredients that both serve your taste buds and your health is part of building confidence and consistency in your self-care. And you don't have to do it all at once. You start with maybe buying basil at the store. Whole Foods, they have smaller packages. Then you can find bigger bunches. Start small, even if it's a little more expensive. That way you're not wasting it. Start small. Try it. Then you'll grow into maybe growing your own. So you add a few leaves, to your next meal. Then you start feeling good about making better food choices that support your energy, your blood sugar, your peace of mind. And that's what the Talking Apron is all about. It's helping you feel steady, nourished, and proud of what you're putting on your plate. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow. Don't forget, follow the Talking Apron, whether on YouTube, Spotify, and share it with somebody. Someone who's ready to feel more confident in the kitchen and learn more about the nutrition of the fresh fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices that they eat. And if you're curious about maybe working with me with one-on-one coaching or joining our Facebook group, Health, Habits, and Hope, check out the links in our show notes for the details. So until next time, keep cooking, keep learning, and keep taking care of you. Bye for now.